Hello wonderful people on the internet. Today I'm going to teach you, and you are going to learn how to create a functional JavaScript calculator from scratch. And in this video we are not going to use any other external framework. We are going to be doing this with pure vanilla JavaScript, and I'm going to take this very slow because I assumed you are a beginner and you are here to learn how to do a calculator. And this calculator project is one of the things that will give you more experience while working with JavaScript. So without much ado, let's get into it. Okay, I've opened my IDE, and I'm using Visual Studio Code actually. And right here you can see I already have my HTML file with the name calculator, and basically there's nothing inside of here apart from the title, which I've given already, calculator. And inside our body is empty. And here, if you look here, I have animated.jpg. This is the image which I'll be using for the calculator background. And this is my HTML. I don't have my CSS and JS file yet. So first, I'll need to create a container that will house. I'm going to create a div, with a class of container. This will actually be the border of our calculator actually. So I'm going to hit enter, and inside this container I want to put the display area. Like if you can see in this one, you can see the border, and this is the display area which I did with the div and an input type test, and these are the buttons that will be below the display. So right here I'm going to put a div with a class of display, and inside this display I want to put an input, as I said earlier, with a type of text, and I'm going to give it a placeholder of 0, and also pass in a class which we use in our JS file. So I'm going to give it a class of screen, and under it I'm going to create buttons. Like this one will be our clear button, so I'm going to give it two classes, one for CSS and the other one for our JS. So I'll say clear. And for the symbol I'm going to use an entity, HTML entity. In case you don't know about entity, you can go to Google and hopefully it will be there. So I just let me open this in my browser so that you can also see what I am doing. I'll open this with a live server. In case you're using Visual Studio Code and you don't have live server, you can go to your extensions once you open it and come here and search in live server. Hopefully you can install it. I already have it installed already. So I'll go back and right click and open this with live server. This will open it in my default browser. Yeah, you can see I have the display and the clear button. I'm going to minimize this a little, like so. Okay, so inside here I'm going to create a button with a value of minus, okay, subtraction, I gave it a class of button and then passing the value. I'm going to copy this 3 more times, and change their values. This one will take in the division. No. So take in the division. This will take in addition. I'm also going to change it here. Division and addition. I will come down here too and paste it more 4 times so that it will show here 4 times. Okay, going to change the value to 7, change the value here to 8, 9, and multiplication. I'm going to use the multiplication operator, and also change these ones to 7, 8, 9, and multiplication. I'm going to copy this, paste it 2 more times, and inside I'm going to change the value here to 4, 5, 6, and percentage. You know, JavaScript will interpret this as a modulus, which return the remainder of our numbers. You're going to see how that works once you finish this project. 4, 5, 6, modulus. This will take much of our time. I'm going to pause this, and when I finish it, I'm going to show you the final result. Okay, I've finished inputting the values, and you can see I've put everything okay here except from this one. You can see I've put the equal to already, but I've not passed in a value inside of it, so I'll put in the equal to, and you can see it. I've changed. So basically what I did is I added a button with equal, add the decimal point and the 0 with different classes, and I need to arrange this by adding some breakpoint here so that it won't extend. I want to divide them 4, 4, so I'm going to use the break like so. The break also, I'm going to do the same thing here. Do the same thing here. Okay, well actually it's not supposed to show like this. Okay, I'm going to pass it in here. Okay, like so. This is how I want it to look, because we are going to edit the equal to and the 0. This is basically all we need for our HTML file. So I'm going to go open my Explorer, and I'm going to create a new file with a name of calculator CSS file, and inside here I want to link it, so I'm going to go in between my head tag and put in the, so that I'm going to reference the HTML file. So I'll say station. Like so. Instead of, I'm going to close this. Instead of HTML file, I'm going to use the normal random stuff, you know, that we normally use. And I will give you the box size, and this is very important because I want everything to be in place. I'm going to use the border box like so. So under it, I'm going to select the body because I want to add the background to it. So I'm going to say background image. URL. Okay, remember an animated image which we have here, so I'm going to pass in the name like so. Okay, here we have it. I'm going to select the container of our calculator and give it a maximum width of 250 pixels, and give it a background of lining, a border of 3 pixels solid black. Going to position this at the middle by using the margin up and down 15 and using the auto just to position it at the middle. And I'm going to give it a padding up, down, left and right, padding of 10 pixels. I'm going to add a boss shadow. As you can see here, we had a boss shadow of red, so I'm going to put in that boss shadow there. Boss shadow, of red, like so. So we don't need, that's all for our container. And I'm going to select the display container, the display. Going to change the background to a Gainsborough. It looks a little bit as like gray. You can see this is not looking very well, but don't worry, before we finish CSS it will look very nice. And I'm going to give it a width of 100%. So this will stretch it to the width of the container. And here I'm going to select our inputs inside the display. So I'll say display input, and I will give it a width 100%, so that will take the width of the display like so. I'm going to float this to right and align the tests also right, and give it a line height. You can see align test right, it moved the placeholder to right, so whatever value we type in will start from the right. You can see like so. So I'm going to give it a line height of 50 pixels, like so. Let me close this so that we can see it. Okay, and the font size of 23 pixels, 23 pixels, and I'm gonna give this a border also of 2 pixels solid black, like so. So that's all we need for the display. We are going to move on to the buttons. I want to style the buttons, but I'm not going to add any styling to this and this. We are going to give them their own styling independently because we want the button to look different from others. So what I need to do is to say container, the button, because if you remember I gave the button a class button btn. So I'm say btn not. What this not actually does is that I'm going to select the value, like one after styling I'm going to select a class, or I should say the last element inside our div. So I'm going to tell the browser not to style, we're going to tell CSS not to style this one and this one. So I'm going to say not last child, so CSS will know that we don't want to style the last child, which is 0, but we want to style other buttons. So I'm going to give this a width of 23.6%, of course, So style, you can see this one and this one are not taking the same width as others because I added a knot. So I'm going to give this a padding of 5 pixels, up, down, left and right. Imagine up 4%, right 0, left 0, down 0, like so. And I also want to remove the borders, so give it a border of none. And also I want to give them a background color. You can see right now it's not showing very well, so I'm going to give them a background color, of RGB, a little bit dark red, RGB 75 4 4, like so. I'm also going to pass in the color of the values inside the button to be white. And we can remember from this side I had a little bit of shadows on the buttons, so I need to add those shadows to it, which are taking burst shadow of K0, black, like so. See, it's looking more attractive now in very nice. So right now I want to select this equal button because we don't know this, we are done with this except for the hover effect, but don't worry, let's just tie this and we're going to add the hover effect later and then we'll dive into JavaScript. I'm going to select the equal button because if you remember in our HTML I gave it a class of equal. So I'm going to select the equal, and I select the equal, and I'm going to give it a width of 23.7, the same I gave others, 23.7%, and a padding of 5 pixels. I'm going to float it right because I want it to be, I'm going to float it like so that when I increase the height it's not going to affect these other ones. So I'm going to give it a float, right, sorry for that, margin 4%, up, down, and okay, left, like so. Then I give it a height of 62 pixels. You can see it has gone down without disturbing others. And to scroll down, and I'm going to give it a background of red with a border. I want to remove the border because we don't want that white stuff to show there. Give it a non-border, and also I want the value to be white, like so. I'm going to add a transition to it so that when we hover it's going to have some cool hovering effect. I want a transition to 0.1 seconds, and with the burst shadow also same as the up one, 0 pixel, 2, 3, black. This transition, so I need to copy it and put it inside, add it to this one because we are also going to add a hover effect to it. So we're going to select this 0 now. We are done for this you can see. So we'll go down and select the 0 button to style the 0 button. Now we'll give this a width of 49%, padding of 5 pixels, like so. Margin, same thing. Also going to remove the border and give this a background of red. Color of white, and a transition 0.1. Well, I know you might be wondering, why don't I just copy this and paste here? Well, actually I want you to understand what I'm actually doing. I don't want to make things a little bit complicated for you guys. So I'm going to add a boss shadow. Black. You can see how stunning it is now, exactly as this one. You can see no changes apart from those two here. I'm going to remove that. You can see. So right now you can see the difference between this one and this is that this one, the buttons are actually displaying on the screen when you click on it, but this one, the buttons are not doing anything, and the hovering effect is not there. So I'm going to put the hovering effect to the equal button by selecting equal button, comma, and also selecting the 0 because I want both of them to have the same hovering effect. So I'll add here hover and a background of RGB, which is a kind of dark red. I already have it here. RGB 7544, like so. You can see if we hover on it, it's going to change the background with a transition of 0.1 seconds. And I'm also going to select the buttons. I'm going to put a hover effect to the button. Hover. So I'm going to pass in not, because I don't want you to style these other ones, because if I don't put not, this one will not take effect. So I'm going to pass in the not just the way I did up here. That is to tell our browser not to style the last child. And I'm also going to pass the same thing here, not last child. And I want the background color to be red. So if you see, if we hover on this 0 equal to, is going to change to dark red just like this ones, and when you hover on the buttons, it's going to change to red also. So right now this is all we need for the CSS. Let's get into our JS file and make this thing look fantastic and functional like a real calculator. I'm going to go here and create a new file, and I'll give that calculator.js. Hit enter, and I have my JS file open. So inside our HTML, I'm going to link our JS file using the script tag, and I'll pass in the source attribute. Pass in the source attribute. I'm select calculator.js here and close that up. So right now our JS file has been linked to our HTML. So whatsoever we do in our JS is going to take effect right here. So I'll go to my JS file. The first thing I need to do is to create a variable to select every value, the display, the buttons, the equal to, and the clear button. So first thing first, I'll use a constant to select the display, and I'll say document.querySelector. This query selector is a new method of selecting an element in HTML. This was introduced by ECMAScript 6, which is Es6 for short. So I'm going to select the the display using, if you can remember, I gave the display, close this up, I gave the display here screen, so I'm going to select it with a class of screen. Query selector, I must pass in the dots to tell HTML that it is a class, and close it up. Sorry, JavaScript, not HTML, to tell JavaScript that it is a class. And I'm also going to create a new variable. This will be the clear button, and I will say document dot query selector, which is button clear. If you can remember, that was what I gave it right here, button clear. And also I'm going to create another variable which will take in the equal document dot query selector. I gave it equal, like so, and the final button, which is going to take in buttons query selector all, because there are plenty buttons inside our HTML. Instead of using query selector 1, which is for one class, we are going to use query selector all btn. So what this will do is that it's going to select every class, every button with a class name of btn, like so. I'm sorry. So I'm going to go back, and after selecting it, I need to create a for loop for this. And the for loop I'll be using is the one introduced in ECMAScript 6. But if you want me to give you an example how it looks like in normal JavaScript, is normally like this. You know, in JavaScript, we want to create a loop. We normally use let I equal to 0, and then we're going to say if I is less than buttons dot length. Can someone spell length for me? Dot length. Then we're going to increment this by 1, and then we run what we want to run. But this is very long. No, dot height, not client height. Dot height, but this is very long. But ECMAScript introduced a shorter method of doing this, which is for, I'm going to say let I of buttons, and this is going to select everything, and then it's going to increment it by 1 to check the length, everything, and then increment it by 1. And inside of it, the I, I'm going to select it, and then I will say dot add event listener. That's what I'm going to be adding in it. I'll say add events listener. Inside that event listener, I want to pass in a click event. Click on it, and then run a function. ECMAScript also introduced other ways of running a function. Instead of using this normal function stuff, and then you open curly bracket, you can as well use the arrow function, the arrow method, which is normally like this. You're going to using passing your, so inside this parenthesis you can pass in your parameters, and you put in your arrow function like so, and then you open your curly brackets and just run the code. Well, I'm going to use this method for now for this video. If you don't like this one, you can change it to the normal function which you normally use in ECMAScript 5. So I'm going to use this for now, and I will create a variable inside, and I will say let numbers equal to I dot get attribute. So I want to get the attributes, the number, this number. So I will say get attributes, get attributes, get attributes. Okay, attribute, not attributes. and I want to get in their values, because if you can remember, we gave the values inside and we pass in our operators and our numbers. So I'm going to use get their values. So after getting the values, I want them to display on, get rid of this, I want them to display on the screen right here. Once we click on it, let them start displaying automatically. So what I'm going to do is to select the display. You can remember I selected the screen with a, and I assigned it to this, the name display. So I'm going to say display dot value and then set it to the numbers, which is this name which I assigned this variable to. So I'm going to say equal to, actually I'm going to use the addition assignment, that is, which says equal to plus, I'm going to explain it, let me just finish it. This, so what this will actually do is that the display dot value, what we are going to do is add, because if you see, wait, let's remove this addition sign now and just pass in display dot value equals to numbers. And then if we click on these values, why is it not showing? Okay, let's open our console and see what the issue is. Type error, button is not iterable. What is the issue? Buttons. Okay, let's see our JS file for I of buttons. Okay, that btn. Okay, sorry, actually I use document.query selector, because this, when we use query selector, we don't need the for loop property. So what I need to do, the problem is for me, I'm supposed to put query selector all. So that's where the issue is coming from. Query selector all, and this we get off, and when you click on it, you can see it shows. But the value, if we want to add like 20, like 2 and 0, or let's say 2 and 5, it's not going to show it. It's going to get, once you click on 2, and if we click on 5, it's going to get rid of the 2 and then show the 5. But we don't want it to show like that. We want the numbers to continuously increment as we are clicking on the numbers. Let it continually add up without getting rid of the former one that was there. So what we need to do is to add the assignment property, which is addition assignments. So what this will do is just like saying display.value equals to, okay, let me do this in full, equal to display.value plus the numbers. So if we're adding a number, let me refresh this, let me get rid of this. So if we're adding a number, what it's going to do is that it's not going to get rid of the last one. It's going to add this one together with the one that we are going to add again. You see, if we add, it's going to add it continuously. So instead of us to use this long process, we are just going to change this to a normal short format and then add in the plus here. And if you see, if we add, let's get rid of this. If we add any number, it's going to increment without getting rid of the last one that was there. You see? So if we add in our .02, whatever value we add is going to show up. But you can see right now our equal to button is not working. Our clear button is not working. It's going to show null because we have not added any events to it. So right here, what we are going to do, sorry, okay, actually, okay, so what we are going to do now is we go back to our JS file and add an event listener to this clear button here. So I'm going to come down here and clear the select the clear button and then add an event listener to it, which is taking the click on it, and I'll pass in a function, an arrow function. Put your parentheses here. So inside of it now, what do we want to do? Once we click on this button, we want the values inside of this display, our screen, to automatically vanish. So I'm going to say display.value, set it to an empty string. Display.value, set it to an empty string. Like so. So now if we add any value to it and then click on this, it's going to automatically erase every number inside our input, like so. You can see if we click on it, it's going to take off everything. So that's all for our clear button. So we're going to come here. I want to add an evaluation to this equal to button, so that once we click on any number and an operator and click on it, it's going to give us the actual value which we need. So that without that, there's no calculator, so we need to put some functionality to the equal button. So right here, I'm going to come and select the equal button, and I'm going to add an event listener to it also. And so click on it, click on this. So when a user clicks on it, it's going to run the function. Well, I'm using this because I'm using this type of function because I want you guys to see the difference. Actually, there's no difference, it's still the same thing, just that ECMAScript made things a little bit easier. So I'm going to use it for you guys so that you can learn. Add event listener function. So what do we want to do? We want to evaluate the values inside of this input. So whatever value that is here is going to return the actual. Like if we do 6 minus whatever number, is going to evaluate it and give us the actual value which we need. So I'm going to sorry for this. So I'm going to add a display display.value, and then set it to evaluate display.value. Like so. So when we click on it, it's going to actually give us the normal value which we need. So you're going to say like 2 let's say 20 minus 8 is going to give us 12, which is the actual value. And if we say 20 divided by 4 to pass in 5, which is the actual value. And actually, you know, remember I told you about this modulos in JavaScript, which actually returns the remainder of any number. For instance, let's say 6 divided by 6. Instead of us using this one, we are using 6 divided by 6, because if we use this, 6 divided by 6 is going to pass in 1. But now we want the remainder to display. We want to see the remainder when we divide 6 by 6. So we say 6 divided by 6, that is modulo, is going to pass in 0, because if you divide 6 by 6, there is no remainder. It's going to pass in 0. So let's say 9 divided by 3. What will be the remainder? Actually nothing, because 9 going into 3, right? 3 going to 9 is 3 times, so it's not going to pass any value. So let's say, for instance, 9 divided by 2. We want to get the actual value. 9 going to 2 is around 4, right? 4, and the remainder will be 1. So if we evaluate this, it's going to give us 1. That's how modulus work. It returns the remainder of anything, any number we divide. It returns the number of it. I'm going to close my console.log. Okay, and that's all. But there's some kind of glitches to this. If we click on the equal to button, when the screen is empty, it's going to pass in undefined, and we don't want undefined to show when the user clicks on it. So what are we going to do? We're going to get rid of this, and then that's when we introduce the if statement. So inside here, let me get rid of this. So inside here, I'm going to pass in the if statement, which is, so I will say if display.value is equal to an empty string. We want the, no, if it's equal to an empty string, what's going on? Okay, if it's equal to an empty string, we want it to also remain an empty string even after we click on this equal to button. We want to see that undefined text to show. So we're going to say, no, not here, inside here, not there. So I will say display.value, also set it to an empty string. But if it's not, if the string is not empty, what do we want the system to do? Evaluate it. So we're going to pass in what the value we passed in the first time. So we'll say evaluate display.value, like so. So if we click on this, if we click on this, it's not going to give us any error again. It's still going to return it to 0. Going to return it to 0 no matter how we click on it. But now if we say 30 minus 20, it will give us the actual value, which is 10, and there we have it. Thank you guys for watching. I so much appreciate. And if you know you watched this video to the end, I want you to put in the comment box below, hello, I survived it, so that we know those that truly enjoyed this video. And if you learned something from this video, don't hesitate. Or if you have any difficulty, you have any question, or you want any video you want me to create, or you want, any tutorial, any project you want me to create in my next video, put it down in the comment box below, and I will do my best to make that happen. So take care guys, thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I swear, share to your friends. Thank you so much, I love you. See you in my next video. I love you.